And welcome to the studio, a full house here in Berlin. Troubleshot bringing you the first 2 games of the day. And the analysts there set it up fantastically. Astralis and Team Vitality are battling for a shot at playoffs. Vitality are on a bit of a hot streak in the last couple of games. And for Astralis, they haven't had the same amount of success as we saw earlier in the season.
Yeah, and historically speaking, if we take results from other seasons, that 9 win is the sweet spot to hope to get into that playoffs race.
The one thing I will say, I can't remember a season where so many teams were this close to 9 wins. Let's find out what happens as we're about to start the draft. So trouble as we load up into the draft. Astralis on the blue side, Vitality on the red side. We saw some small pivots yesterday. I think Jarvan rising up in priority. Yeah. Gwen was nearly perma-banned throughout the day. What else do you think we'll anticipate for this draft?
And I'm seeing as Alphari has been extremely dominant on the top side of the map. Gwen might be one of the bans right here. I'm seeing Gnar might take a little bit more priority right now that Gwen is banned. And of course, a bunch of these early game aggressive junglers that Xerxe and Haru like to play, possibly in the Trundle, the Poppy.
Well, of course, they're both available. Kalista Draven targeted towards Carzzy, removed from the pool. Zeri is still open and available. Poppy is still up. Yuumi is still up as well. We saw Yuumi yesterday was available and was selected. Siva, a little bit of a flavor of the last couple of weeks, also removed from the pool. So both Carzzy and Kobbe are being, pushed a little bit.
Ooh. So right here you've got the Zeris, the Poppies, the Yuumis, and only one ban, the Yuumi. Thankfully for you, and the crowd loves it as well. They do not want to see the Yuumi, but yesterday Haru was an absolute beast onto the Trundle, and Xerxe is one of the most clever junglers that we have in the early game. Getting that Trundle, getting that power on the 1v1 is going to be extremely important for Astralis right here, and they're going to lock the Trundle away.
Of course, we want to see Xerxe have that impact in the early game. Vitality have, in the last couple of games, really cleaned up their approach. Yesterday, they had a very dominant win over BDS. And for Vitality now, where do they take these picks? I mean, Zeri and Poppy are both available, both options that we've seen huge priority on. Of course, quick reminder that Hex Flash has been administratively disabled due to a bug, which results in those instantaneous respawns that is only happening on the tournament realms, not on your servers at home. And it's going to be the blind pick Gnar.
Now, if we remember what happened last time, it was Tatsi picking the Ornn into Alphari's Gnar, and it didn't go very well. But seeing as we see already the Trundle, if you want to go for a further scaling team into that late game, an Ornn might not be the worst choice.
Well, let's see if Chachi has to have a better performance, because I think he was Flame Horizon, wasn't he?
He was Flame Horizon, and Alphari did not die a single time.
No, he really didn't. And I think yesterday as well, that top lane performance definitely left something to be desired. Chachi's one of the players that's had a difficult summer. And I love seeing the kind of like a rematch of that top lane matchup. Whether or not Astralis have learned or be able to adapt, we'll find out in a few minutes' time. But next movement on the draft will be the Twitch locked in. So, of course, that's going to be into the Zeri. There's a number of bot laners banned away. And for Kobbe, I mean, that's definitely a playmaking bot laner.
And also this here makes Lulu kind of like a prior pick as well, because Twitch wants to have Lulu since Yuumi is not there. Zeri does really well with Lulu as well, with all the shielding and speeding up. So you're either going to push your jungle further down the list if you're Vitality unlocking the Lulu, or prioritize Haru and his early game aggression here.
And of course, that Jarvan is definitely raising in priority as we're on 12-14. I did a quick check. Kobbe's only played 4 professional games of Twitch, 2 of them this summer. This will be his 5th. He's only won 1 of those matches. We'll see whether or not he can be unlocked around the map. We saw a couple of Enchanter supports yesterday, and that's definitely something that can help amplify and work with the Twitch particularly well. What will Vitality and Astralis ban away here?
So here's the thing right now. JeongHoon's pike is completely out of the picture, but I'm looking at Nautilus to cut Zeri, and I'm looking at Lulu for both Twitch and Zeri. Now the problem is, of course, with the Hexblast being disabled, playing Nautilus into the likes of Lulu becomes extremely difficult, especially as you hex flush through the bush and bonk the Lulu on the head, and that's how you create an engage for the bot lane. So I'd like to see which one the teams are going to be gravitating towards, because I feel like Lulu is a priority pick for both of them.
The thing that I do like about both of the current champions locked in, they want to go forward. They're definitely proactive, definitely wanting to get into your face. Vitality, they've taken away that fight, taking their time on this final ban. They'll remove JeongHoon's VoD. It's definitely one of the signature picks for him in that bottom lane, but looking at what's available, I mean, Lulu's up, Renata's up, Nautilus is up as well.
One of the most important things, Sylas is up. And when you're looking at a Gnar, something like a Gnar being locked in, a Zeri ult, you definitely want to be stealing this away. On the side of Vitality, you also want to be stealing the Ornn ultimate away, creating that even more engage for your team together with the Jarvan and the Gnar. The pick is up for grabs, and so is still Lulu.
Oh, Talia was that final ban, and it's going to be a Rakan lock-in here for Labrov. One more initiation to give Perkz the ability to counterpick. Dajor's going to have to blind something here. I mean, when we look back to the rest of the champions he's played this summer, Orianna 6 games, Victor 3, Vex 2.
You know what all these have in common that you've told me? They're extremely mobile, and you're playing into a Jarvan. And we also mentioned how Sylas is very important because the opponent team has that Gnar ult. Now you've also got Rakan ult that you can steal away together with Zeri. So there's a bunch of possibilities for Dajor to be stealing things away, hijacking them, using them for his team.
And I mean, this Sylas is only his second ever game on the champion. We talked a moment ago about Kobbe, 5th on the Twitch. JeongHoon is going to be falling back to the Renata. This is a first time Renata for JeongHoon. So these champions on the professional stage, not the most experienced, and a near insta-lock Akali. Okay, zoom out. What do these comps want to do?
All right, so if we're looking at Astralis, this is a very Astralis-esque comp. They want to scale into the late game. They have the 2 beef walls at the front with Ornn and Trundle, and then they're going to have Kobbe as their main carry onto this Twitch. Looking on the other side, we have Alphari, we have Perkz, we have Carzzy, we have Haru through the jungle. All 4 of these champions can do damage, and in the early game, if they do get ahead, they're extremely snowballed.
Okay, so let's keep a close eye there on the early game. I think we talked about Astralis ideally going, even not falling behind in the early game. A lot of options, got a lot of frontline. Do you think those tanks are going to be troublesome for the Zeri and Akali, or will they be able to just hop straight past them?
So here's the thing, right? Akali right here wants to jump into the backline and has also access together with the Jarvan and a Gnar. So if Vitality manage to find their flanks, they can delete that Twitch.
Vision is going to be important. Finding opportunities to jump onto that Sylas and that Twitch. Let's shift the rift for Astralis versus Vitality. Oh, I definitely felt a little bit of time pressure on that toss. That was a Freudian slip. Okay, let's draw our attention then to sort of early game decision-making. Trouble, what do you think will be a priority here?
Oh, they spotted him. Labrov just jumped over the wall, but he was instantly spotted. Pops down his ward. And what's really important to mention here is that I've been keeping a close eye on Xerxe as well as a jungler, and I feel like he's one of the most clever to punish really quickly in the jungle when it comes to pathing, when it comes to invading, when it comes to finding opportunities to take things away from you. One of the biggest examples, of course, would be last week, the Astralis game, where he completely shut down, was in Marrank from the jungle and took everything from him, 2-level lead really early on. So I'd like to keep a close eye on what Haru and Xerxe like to do, because I do like to sneak into opponents' jungles very early on. Both
of them look to be starting on the top half of the map. And just a quick celebration, everybody. This is Labrov's 100th LEC game. So sending him some love. As unfortunately, both Vitality and Astralis are playing remotely. I want to send best wishes to those Astralis players that are currently under the weather. And I think I do want to keep an eye and remind everybody that last week against Rogue, after that Malrang gank in the bottom lane, Xerxe and Astralis completely controlled the entire map. They invaded, they pushed, they applied so much pressure that Marang and Ro couldn't get back into the game. Let's see if Astralis can repeat that, as there's already
Classic.
a flash blown. That's
Classic.
a very early play from Haru.
Red buff into level 2 gank, the Jarvan special, if you will. Now what he can also do is grab his blue, grab the Gromp, get that quick level 3, and go for a repeat. Now, of course, when Xerxe sees a gank on the map, he's very quick to pull the trigger into invading his opponent, because he's usually 1 or 2 camps up, which means he's closer to that level 3. As you'll see, Haru right now, still sitting level 2, just killed his blue buff. Xerxe is on that level 3. But usually he does have some sort of priority to do this with. Right now his mid is being pushed in, but he's still gonna move in for that engage.
Gonna start challenging this. Middle lane is under pressure. Bottom lane, I think, being pushed a little backwards. So they will step forward
just about missed the window. Just about.
Too late. So Haru will be able to secure the Gromp and back out. I also think important to keep an eye on the wave state in this bottom lane. If Kobbe and JeongHoon can push forward, and Kobbe can potentially roam with
he's been
Xerxe,
spotted.
it's a lot of damage that can come down. Level 3 from both junglers. Dajor's low, he's got no flash.
I think what happened with Xerxe right there is that he was hoping Haru had gone for Wolves, which means that he wouldn't have hit that level 2. But Haru with a quick level 3 and the 1v1.
Okay, that's the flag and drag to safety. You do not really want to fight Trundle early on. The Frozen Domain, the Chomp, gonna help him out with so many additional combat stats. So bottom...
No way he's gonna wrap around for another gank. Okay, he's...
I think the priority is going to be that scuttle. And of course, the bottom lane was secured there by Xerxe. Middle and top lane being pushed heavily towards Astralis, and he's coming back for that gank trouble.
That's been 3 ganks in 3 minutes. This is the Jarvan special. You spot the guy that doesn't have the summoners, the blue Dajor's flash earlier on. But Dajor does have that E available to him.
Ooh, let's find the CC. Flash forward from Haru, applies the buff, knocked up into the air, down to 200 HP. Dajor goes forward, and Labrov joins the fray. Ignite is available to him, puts it down, and the burn should secure it, but it may not matter. Labrov escapes with his life.
His 100th LEC game. He's been celebrated by a first blood, where you also get to push your opponent mid laner off of that mid lane for now. And as you'll see, Haru flashes in for the slow and then uses the flag and drag to get onto Dajor. Really nicely done right there from Labrov to roam all the way from that bot side of the map to try and assist his mid lane and jungle. Dajor ends up going down. Reminder, he's most likely going to have to TP back into his lane. That is going to be a flashless Sylas. And you have seen how active Haru has been on the map for the past 3 minutes. It's a rinse and repeat, trying to get kills onto that Akali.
I mean, that's something that Haru has improved upon in the second half of the season. When you take a look at his stats from the first round robin in terms of kill participation, jungle proximity, the amount of time you spend around your teammates, every single one of those areas has improved. And this game, multiple ganks mid lane has allowed them not only secure the summon spell advantage, but also that first blood. And while that is going on, Alphari has a CS lead in the top lane, and Carzzy and Labrov staying even in the bottom lane, but they were able to roam and already find that advantage for Perkz in the middle lane.
And look at this again. They know that Dajor is going to be under pressure. JeongHoon presses his B button, resets, runs it straight to mid lane, making sure that Dajor crushes that wave without being threatened. Labrov is also there to shadow Perkz for that matter. But talking about that top lane, Trevor, in the previous game that these teams played earlier on in the split, Alphari pretty much had no one helping him on the top side of the map. He was bullying Vizicsacsi away to the point where he flame horizoned him, did not die, and he played a huge impact in his team's success in that game with his Mega Nas and how far ahead he's now was. And right now he's sitting 14 CS ahead.
And I mean, for Vizicsacsi, needs to have an impact, needs to be able to initiate those fights. When you look at the rest of the composition, and we're relying on that engage as there's a knock-up from Labrov. Kobbe and JeongHoon continue to step forward. Xerxe is going to arrive, and Haru's there as well. Both junglers kind of reading one another, similar areas of the map, but it doesn't evolve into anything bigger. JeongHoon now needs to be a little bit careful, forced to flash as Haru manages to threaten enough with that flag and drag. And again, Haru with a successful gank onto Astralis.
Yeah, and if you look at the kills and assists, this doesn't necessarily net you a kill or an assist, but you've taken that flash off of the Renata, which means that your bot lane should technically be more comfortable playing that 2 versus 2, even maybe going for a kill right there, pressuring the Twitch underneath the tower, getting control. Haru mid lane again.
Oh, there's so much threat. And again, by the way, Xerxe roughly in the same area, maybe one could argue a little bit slower, so to speak, but Haru has been everywhere on the map, is being able to maintain that advantage through the ganks. And every time I look at the minimap, by the way, Alphari continues to apply pressure, continues to push that wave into Chachi, as they both now hit level 6. And Chachi has continued to just survive, deal with as much pressure from Alphari as he can. He's engaged from Dajor. He's had a couple of flashy plays throughout the course of Summer. Execution comes back in from Perkz. Dajor is now burning the knockout from the pillar. One lost onto, not enough. Dajor and Perkz escape by the skin of their teeth.
Holy, Dajor's chain's missing right there. Means that Perkz gets to run away with his life, but Xerxe, he's hanging around, making sure, trying to push that wave, but Haru is yet again in the mid lane, helping Perkz keep the wave at the state that he prefers right here. And Alphari keeps bullying Vizicsacsi. So far, everything's going Vitality's way. 7 minutes into the game, 1,000 gold up.
I mean, that is something that you mentioned during the draft. Trouble talking a little bit about the ability to generate a lead early on in the game. It's been definitely Vitality favored. 800 gold up at the 8-minute mark is not gigantic, but Astralis do need to be a little careful. They don't want to let these either this Gnar or this Akali run away with the game. And remember, Perkz last picked that Akali. That little re-engage onto Dajor tells you a little bit about his mentality, and Perkz is definitely one of the players that is stepping up as Vitality have strung together a number of wins for the last few weeks.
Yeah, and we've seen a bunch of successful Akali gameplays as well. Certus played the Akali, VTO has played the Akali, and they have both popped off. And of course, Perkz been one of the best mid laners that we do have in Europe, sporting that champion as well. You get him a little bit far ahead, you get that rocket belt onto the Akali, and it's going to be so important. And that is also another reason that a lot of junglers will be shadowing that mid lane when you play in Akali. It's so important to get that rocket belt early on. Now, highlighting here again the two supports, level 5 for Labrov. Usually not the best when you're playing that Rakan, but it doesn't matter because the Rift Herald is gone.
Yeah, Vitality already secured that before the pressure arrives. JeongHoon gets engaged on by Labrov. No ultimates for either just yet, but Dajor has stolen the quickness away. A dash over the wall from Carzzy escapes. So Vitality, they have the 1,000 gold lead. They got First Blood. They have the Rift Herald as well. They've got all the tools to start accelerating this lead even further. For Astralis, again, they really need some time. They want to scale up. As you mentioned a little bit ago, Trouble, Kobbe's going to be one of the primary damage dealers. And while he hasn't, fallen behind necessarily, his two solo laners are under a lot of pressure. You're feeling a little bit more confident with some levels, and that quickness definitely going to help out if he needed it.
Yeah, but I mean, later on in the game, he's going to be under a lot more pressure when the Akali's jumping in the backline, the Jarvan jumping in the backline, Gnar is jumping in the backline. So I think Kobbe's positioning is going to be key to try and win these fights later on. Of course, Vitality have spotted Astralis doing that dragon, but since they have traded Rift Herald for it, you don't necessarily care too much about the first dragon of the game. Although they do give a bunch more stats after 12-14, and Astralis, they're creating a win condition for themselves. If you want to scale, you take the dragons so you're not put on a timer but the opponent team.
And of course, for Vitality, if they do or when they do contest that dragon, when you look at their vision, see whether or not they can find those flanks. That's Kobbe under trouble. Cataclysm down as well. He's locked inside the pit. Bailout will buy so much time, but not enough. Vitality will secure their second kill. This one for Carzzy.
And see how Xerxe has always been counter-ganking, I would say, or shadowing the lanes that Haru is attacking. This time, Haru walked through lane, managed to get that gank over the belt, blowing both Kobbe summoners, and also giving a kill over to the hyper carry Zeri on the hands of Carzzy. Really well done right there for Vitality. They're also pushing that early game lead that they have in every single lane. If you look at top lane, 20 CS ahead. You're looking at mid lane, 10 CS plus ahead. You look at bot lane, 10 CS ahead plus a kill. Early game is rolling really well for them.
I mean, Haru has completely stamped his authority on this early game. Just say hasn't had an answer, and of course, once you get trapped inside the Cataclysm with no flash, there's nothing you can do.
You see how patient he was with the Cataclysm as well. He flag and dragged close to Kobbe. Kobbe flashes away to avoid the combo, and then Haru flashes for the Cataclysm to lock him in once he has no way out. Really well done right there on the combo.
All right, Vitality continue to just slowly creep ahead. Where is this Rift Herald going to be used? Do you have a preference on what you'd like potentially Vitality or Haru to do with it?
Usually here's the thing. If you have a mid laner opponent that doesn't clear the wave really fast or is playing a melee champion, you usually want to attack that lane. And taking that mid lane tier 1 earlier on allows you for a lot more opportunities for ganking and catching people who are overextended. So I would expect maybe some sort of roam coming in from Labrov, trying to kill Dajor again, and then you release the Rift Herald, give extra money to your Akali, and snowball Perkz early on.
Well, that timing window is very quickly diminishing. Right now, Haru is potentially moving bottom lane, just jumped into the river. Dajor and Perkz continue to trade aggressively there in that middle lane. And with this move from Labrov, exactly as anticipated, a number of wards will at least spot the move here from Vitality. Teleport is available for Xerxe if he wanted to. And as you can see, Alphari, he pushed their wave in, he immediately dipped into the fog of war. And I love this setup. 2.5 minutes until the dragon. Can pick either mid or top lane to go for the Herald, and it feels like this is going to have to be bottom lane.
This is going to have to be bottom lane. Giving it to Carzzy makes also a lot of sense. 1-0 for the bot lane of Vitality. And here comes the charge. Here comes the charge.
I love this. Yes! Thank you, Berlin. I love the Rift Herald celebrations. It'll steal a couple of plates away, but there wasn't a significant wave to work with. There wasn't additional, damage to come down. So again, a lot of respect, a lot of restraint for these last couple of minutes. And that gold lead continues to balloon, 2,000 up. Alphari continues to apply pressure in this top lane and build up at least a minor lead. But I think it is fair to say that Xerxe is not being, let's say, completely eliminated as we saw the last time these two teams played. But Astralis, they do need to make some sort of proactive play. Xerxe may be going to look for something.
Talking about top lane, though, Alphari is in Minina form, which is the form that usually a jungler wants to bully away together with a top laner. But since the wave is going to be pushing in, they're going to focus more on trying to clear the jungle, getting more levels, getting more gold. Right now, you see that the Sunder has been completed for Xerxe, which means that he has been ahead a little bit of Haru, because Haru has been so active on the map. He's been showing up to lanes over and over again, which means that this time that Haru used to gank, Xerxe used to shadow and also farm for himself, which means that he has gotten his mythic first.
And of course, different priorities, right? Because you've got those steel-plated boot caps there for Haru as opposed to the free-ass boots for Xerxe. Alphari continues to step forward. Now with 45 seconds until the next dragon, both teams seem to be setting up for this play. Let's look at both mid and bottom lane. It looks like Vitality, at least the first ones, to control the river.
I think it's really important that Astralis need to realize that there's no flash on Kobbe's Twitch, so it's going to be really difficult to play this team fight into an Akali that has purchased the Rocket Belt if he doesn't have his flash available to get away from potential engage. So this might be very important for Astralis, and we might have to look again at Kobbe's positioning when he's playing against Assassins, especially not having his flash available.
So this is the thing I'm going to ask. When do you start getting nervous for Astralis? That gold lead is slowly creeping up. They haven't been able to, successfully make a play around the map. This time around, they are at least able to step into the river and challenge some of this vision. For Astralis, can they do anything more? Handshake backwards. Haru is going to be able to sidestep that ultimate, and JeongHoon will be able to pick up the kill. That is just a punish on Haru in the river.
And again, Xerxe has been very successfully been finding Haru around the map. This time they found him all alone. He has JeongHoon right there with the Renata. And this has been a lot of the times the name of the game for Astralis. Even though we do mention Xerxe a lot.
Ooh, Labrov stepping around. Dajor's hijacked that perfect execution. And here comes JeongHoon as well as Xerxe. No further follow-up. But I think that small mistake is going to be potentially problematic. Second dragon secured, buying more time. As now all of a sudden, Kobbe and Carzzy, they're going toe-to-toe. Spray and pray being fired across. Expunge not going to be able to do the damage. Kobbe's now under threat from the teleport. Carzzy's trying to find the zap. Pillar of Ice will slow down Perkz. The 5-point shuriken doesn't connect with the kill. Kobbe's going for it. Steps forward. Cannot get into range. And gets taken down.
And that's 4 members of Vitality that was the bot side of the map, trying to keep Carzzy alive from the 1 versus 1. But again, it's Kobbe losing his flash, losing his heal, losing his summoner. 0 and 2 right now, whilst Carzzy is the recipient of the kill down the bot lane. And Perkz managed to also get a tower for his TP. So far, so good for Vitality. The replies have been so quick on the map in whatever Astralis have thrown their way.
I think, in contrast to Vitality's game yesterday, a lot
Alphari's
more
here.
Control being applied as the Cataclysm is dropped down. Haru's going to be able to use that Demacian standard to escape, and Xerxe now turns it back around. Pillar of Ice forces the flash out of Alphari at Vitality, bitten off more than they can chew. Labrov gets taken down, the call of the Forge God will find his man! Sniped by the GOAT! Vizicsacsi is going to be happy with that, and Astralis still clawing things back.
Yeah, and it's been a back and forth actually that I wasn't expecting, because when you see an Akali purchasing that Rocket Bell, Alphari joins the fight with a completed Trinity Force, you expect this to be a bloodbath. These champions wreak havoc in very short spaces, but this fight was in the mid lane. Astralis were able to take the space and actually get away from any threat in the back line. And now Astralis are also going to be rewarded with a neutral objective, which they can actually use to break open mid lane.
I mean, can they, manage to claw this back? Because again, Vitality start the fight, and then they get punished for it.
Yeah, and I feel like Alphari might have been a little bit slow diving into this Cataclysm with the Mega Gnar. Xerxe was there just in time, then he goes instantly into mid Gnar, which means he's extremely vulnerable to play into so many melee champions from the side of Astralis. Carzzy is there to snipe him off the air as well. Everyone targets the Yordles.
Yeah, of course. Observers flexing just a little bit this game. And for Perkz, the man that got that roam down in the bottom lane, another one of those players that has the counter pick into the Sylas. When you look at first half stats versus second half, significant improvement at impact. And I think one of the things that I'm noticing from this Vitality in the second round robin, and Trouble, tell me if you think if it makes sense or adds up. It feels like the team are more coordinated than the beginning of the season. They are sending it, as I think Goldborg was saying, committing to the fights. They've been punished a little bit right now. But more importantly, I think they are coordinating, they are working better together, and they're not afraid to, play forward, be proactive, and look for those plays that get you a lead.
I think that is the word that describes them. They actually been proactive rather than reactive. So they're allowing Vitality to make moves on them, but they're not fearing pulling their TP from their own, getting back into the fray. And right now they do have champions that can turn things around. Trundle is pretty strong in the early to mid game. He's stealing all these defenses away from a target. That target goes down if Dajor lands a chain on him. And this is the story of this early game. It's been Vitality trying to make plays, Haru trying to find angles, but then at the end of the day, Xerxe is one level up, he's been farmed, and now he's heading towards the bottom of the map with 2 more members.
Vizicsacsi does not have his flash, but he's about to Mega Gnar out, and Vitality reinforcements are on their way. The Gnar will just stun Xerxe. He hops over the wall, chucks the boulder out. Chachi's tanking up the turret, and Kobbe gets the kill. But here comes Haru. Cataclysm is available. He locks in 4! He locks in 4! As Kobbe gets the bailout, but he cannot find the kill to bring back to life. And Labrov with the quickness gets the knockup onto JeongHoon, turns his attention to Xerxe and Chachi, and after the dive gets 1, Vitality find 2.
Oh, Alphari bought so much time for Vitality to react to this dive. Chachi actually tanked so many tower shots, so he wasn't necessarily part of the CC. And mind what we said, Dajor is holding a lot of power in his hands right now, that early game Sylas with the stopwatch and the Everprocs, but he was all the way to the other side of the map fighting Perkz. So he wasn't able to use his CC, and as we'll see the dive again, this is a 4 versus 1, but as we will see right now, it's 2 versus 1, because JeongHoon is not there, Kobbe is not there to put down damage, and by the time they are, Vizicsacsi has fallen low. Yes, he's tanking the tower, but Alphari has bought so much time for Vitality to arrive, and Carzzy is actually there for Vitality to put down the damage. Pretty nice re-engage from Labrov as well to get yet another.
Haru with a 4-man Cataclysm. That was gorgeous. We come out of the replay into a contest on Dragon number 3. Vitality are be able to control the river. They should secure this uncontested. Astralis using the Rift Herald to push through the middle lane. Tower secured. Perkz takes a bunch of damage.
And they have Mega Gnar. Look at Alphari.
What can he do? He's going to be able to Gnar out in just a moment. Shelly gets the second charge. Vitality looking for the angle, looking for the engage. Haru's trying to cut them off. He's just dinged. Level 11 Cataclysm's not up. Dajor will be able to hijack that one away. Perkz is in trouble and dashing and running for his life. He stays alive for now as Haru's running away too. Call of the Forge God sniped again. Vizicsacsi finds his second of the game. And all of a sudden, that gold lead doesn't mean a thing. Are they seriously going to try Baron?
Vizicsacsi brings the AWP out twice in this game and snipes 2 people from the side of Vitality. You do have a lot of damage. You have so much damage coming in from the Sylas and the Twitch. And right now, look on the other side of the map. Haru, I'm not sure if he has his smite up and available at this point because he can't dive into the pit. His smite is up. Do you want to take the 50-50 to your Astralis? I don't think so.
So we're going to find out. JeongHoon's got that hostile takeover. He's used it already. Split between the Vitality members. Now the peel, the engage from that hijack quickness. Dajor's looking for Carzzy, who sprays and prays down. Not going to be taken out just yet. Another fantastic Cataclysm Gnar combination. Alphari and Haru are looking to take down Astralis. Perkz is teleported into the fight. Perfect execution as well as a shuriken flips, wrecking Astralis. 4 kills secured, and they're trying to hunt the rats.
Everyone is dead, and Kobbe's trying to pull a sneaky onto Vitality. But Labrov and Perkz right there with the sweeper are going to find them away. Ace for Vitality, and what a fantastic turnaround. You asked me if Astralis were going for the Baron. For a second, I thought they were, and they did get it down low enough, but it wasn't fast. They knew Haru was around, so they had to turn around to fight, and Vitality win a 5 versus 4. Not even close, Labrov.
Not even close. Baron secured as well, and that team fight just worked for Vitality. I think JeongHoon, under so much pressure from Labrov, the hostile takeover really did nothing to slow the approach.
I think what's very important is Haru's cataclysms this game, because the more people you lock up, the more people Alphari can stun into these made-up walls from the Jarvan. 4 members slammed into the Cataclysm, stunned for life, and Carzzy has been untouched in the backline. And also this fight went on for so long that Perkz had time to respawn. He bought his second item, rejoined the fight, and hunted down the last remaining member from Astralis. Ace for them, the Baron up as well, and they do have pretty good side lane options as well. The Gnar has been ahead. You can use that as side lane pressure and then bounce up the rest of the 4-man members of Vitality to push in another lane.
I mean, a beautiful, beautiful team fight. Carzzy right now, 5-0-3 on that Zeri. We saw Perkz coming in late into the fight and managing to clean it up. And Astralis now under so much additional pressure. They were unable to slow down the engage and really thwart Vitality. Now they have an even more difficult task. Multiple lanes being pressured. Look in mid, Alphari shoving that. He has teleport available to him. Currently up 1,500 gold. The same is true for Perkz and Carzzy. And just like you talked about a moment ago, Dajor's pushing the side lane. Right now, solo up top, but he does have TP.
He does have TP, but look at how many wards he has to TP into that can be a flank. I only see one, and that's in the mid lane. Do you want to be TPing dead smack in the middle of the lane? I don't think so. So I think what they can do right now is possibly try to lose as slow as possible. They're out the towers from the side of Astralis and allow Dajor to grab a little bit more gold. Level 16 on the Sylas would be huge. And right now, again, the stakes for Astralis, traditionally, historically, you need that number 9 in your wins to make playoffs. They're so darn close to getting it. Only 4 more games remain. They need 3 out of them at least.
I mean, it's going to be a very uphill task. You can see the standings on your screen now. And Vitality in a very commanding position. The only thing I will say is if Astralis are able to jump onto Akali or Zeri, that is one way they can win a fight, but it is so difficult to get through the Gnar, the Jarvan, the Rakan, and being down 6,000 gold. Xerxe is being threatened by that old shock laser, but doesn't take damage and doesn't get caught out.
I feel like here the Jarvan pick is just so freaking clever because you've got 3 melee members of Astralis wanting to move forward, and what Haru can very easily do is he locks them up, Alphari stuns them on the wall, gives free space and time for Carzzy to do the damage in the front line whilst allowing Perkz to sneak into the back lane and try to assassinate either Renata or Kobbe on that Twitch.
Let's take a look at the vision then. Because Vitality have continued this siege, Baron will just about tick out, plus 2,500 the Red Bull Baron power play. And Astralis are already making their way to this Dragon Pit. This will be the 3rd of the game for them. And Vitality, they are not looking like they want to challenge, instead threatening the top inhibitor.
I mean, to be fair, you only see Ornn right there, and you have vision on where the rest of Vitality are since the Scuttle Crab is down. So keep pressuring these waves and have Astralis having to reply to them. At this point, they pushed bot lane, mid lane, and top lane all out the turrets. So I'm assuming they have a bunch of gold in their pockets as well. As you can see, the Infinity has just completed for Carzzy, Zeri. We have Hourglass for Perkz. We have Force of Nature for Alphari in the top side as well. 3 items for all 3 key carry members of Vitality. Take that money, cash it in, get the items, and fight again.
I mean, just use those combat stats to your advantage. The one thing, again, just highlighting that because so much of that gold lead is going to be down in both Carzzy and Alphari, those are the damage members, the dealers that you have to avoid. Okay, if you are an Astralis fan and you want to see the comeback happen, it is 4.5 minutes until Seoul. If Astralis are able to set up for that fight, Vitality cannot afford mistakes in that area. The Seoul can be one of the tools that will allow Astralis to get back into this game.
Or the easiest thing, you see how Vitality are pretty spread right now. They've got Perkz on the top side, they've got Alphari on the bot side. Find the window where possibly Alphari is Minna. Try to gank him, try to cash in on a shutdown either on him or onto Perkz and try to feed that money onto Kobbe. That Twitch will come online on that 3rd item and then you can rely on him to put that huge spray and pray.
You just called it. You just called it. Look for Alphari. See if you can gank him. Teleports are coming down. Alphari will have support from Perkz. The rest of Vitality making their way up. Now Alphari taken out from the rat-a-tat-tat, turning the damage over to Perkz. The second secured. 3 members of Vitality alive and running for their lives. Xerxe is going to try find the Pillar of Ice, and that will slow down at least Carzzy. There's not enough support from the rest of Astralis though, and JeongHoon's taking so much damage. Hostile takeover will hold Vitality in place. Chachi's finding an arrive, but the Call of the Forge God has been used, and Vitality are escaping. That's a dash forward. The Pillar of Ice is up. That will actually slow down the initiation. Haru forced to use that flying and dragging. Carzzy snipes JeongHoon.
Astralis do not have to overextend. We gave them the recon right there, and they took it themselves. Dajor cashes in on a shutdown. Very importantly, Kobbe cashes in on a shutdown, and we said it. Alphari and Minina on a side lane could be very abusable to try and get the shutdown off him. Perkz also TPs to try and defend his top lane, but Kobbe absolutely destroys Alphari onto Minina form. They cash another shutdown onto the Akali as well. This is where you slow down. You start pushing out your waves, you set down your vision, you have the numbers advantage on the map, because guess what? You're still behind. The main carry of Vitality is still alive, and he does have 2 supportive champions around him to keep him alive. JeongHoon missteps right there, gets punished.
And of course, there's no objectives to play for. Baron wasn't up, Dragon wasn't up, and now all of a sudden, on the respawn, Vitality inside the pit. Perkz waiting in the wings to look for a squishy target. Dajor's been able to steal away that Gnar. Baron's down to 4,000 hit points. The engage onto Dajor. He's dropped low, buys some time with the stopwatch. Perkz trying to take out JeongHoon. That's 1 for Vitality. Call of the Forge God is flashed away from by Perkz, and Baron has at least been stopped for now.
Yeah, Dajor is dead, so Astralis cannot find with one of their main damage dealers right there. And I wonder what happened to Kobbe, because he got the shutdown and he's been sitting on these 2.5 items. I think maybe he didn't have time to reset to get his 3rd item right here. If we can really quickly toggle onto gold and see how much Kobbe's Twitch is holding on to him right now, 1.6k, that would pretty much complete his 3rd item, and this rat will be so powerful. And this is what Vitality are going to have to start to respect right now. If they catch Dajor, which they did, they can stop the onslaught from the side of Astralis, but Astralis have a pretty good front to back where they can use all 3 of the top side. Renata sits with Twitch, and Twitch puts down the DPS.
Okay, now let's take a look at ultimates and flashes with 1 minute and 10 seconds to go. Alphari missing his, as is Dajor. And I think crucially here, Kobbe at least has his up, while Carzzy does not. Level 14 to level 16, though. Keep that in mind as well. Minute to go, and Astralis very clearly making a move, trying to push these waves out, get control of the river to set up for this fight.
Yeah, and also looking at the level 16 on Dajor and onto Perkz' Akali, but Astralis might have found 2 in the jungle, very slippery though, Haru and Labrov on the Jarvan and the Rakan. And this is pretty good from Astralis. They're pushing in their waves, top lane's pushing, bot lane is pushed. And right now they're moving into the river, setting down their vision, because this is going to be Seoul for them. And the faster they move onto the map, the faster they can catch the side lanes.
And the Baron is up and available. Perkz is shoving out that bottom lane. Teleport will be up in just a little while. And with Kobbe completing that Hurricane, he's now stepping backwards. Keep your eyes on his positioning in the fight. Can Alphari or Perkz apply enough pressure?
Perkz does not teleport. He has to walk all the way towards the top side of the map. Astralis are first in the river, and Ornn ult covers a vast majority of that width.
There's not a lot of damage to burn through this, and Astralis a little bit split. They've peeled away. They've backed out. Chachi is now trying to interrupt Vitality's pathing, stepping into the jungle, challenging for vision, and dancing on the edge of safety, but no full engage.
But right here, Astralis lost the Baron and they lost their soul condition because Vitality have soul control of that mid lane as the hit does hit onto Kobbe from Perkz. But Vitality do have the push in the mid lane. They're actually looking for the flank.
Labrov is stepping forward, has flash ult available to him. Ultra Shock Laser chipping away on those
just
HP
take
bars.
The dragon, Vitality.
Well, they're not going to do that just yet. They want to win it through the fight.
Oh,
Perkz
no.
may be singled out. Do Astralis fully commit? The rest of Vitality moving through the mid lane. We've got a 5-on-5. This is basically ARAM. Perkz will be singled out, knocked up into the air, chunked out. Goes golden for now, and Carzzy hops over the wall. JeongHoon's a little bit low as the hostile takeover has now disengaged the fight, and Astralis, they're in the Baron picks.
But this is the ultimate that keeps Twitch alive, very importantly. Akali is alive. Perkz is going to go back, reaching his HP, TP back into the fray, and look at Kobbe, look at his position because he's going to be #1 target.
Baron is so low, 3,500 to Astralis bursted. Do they peel? Right now, Xerxe sticking on it, two peeling away. Labrov and Perkz jumping onto the back line. Kobbe's used his heal, holding onto Flash for now. Everybody's in the middle, and Kobbe's taking down Haru. 1, 2, 3 kills for Astralis. Carzzy and Alphari, the last standing. Gnar is up. Astralis tipping on the Baron. Dajor steps forward onto Carzzy, trying to lock him down. He does, finds the stun. Not enough damage yet. Carzzy peeling backwards. No! Into the wall from Alphari. The boulder toss finds a kill. All of a sudden, the Baron is secured by Xerxe. He turns to help his teammates. Flash forwards for the chomp. Carzzy buys time with that stopwatch, and he will be shut down for 1,000 gold and Baron to Astralis.
And again, the front to back from Astralis is flawless. 2 mid shields that want to engage from you. A Renata that wants to keep that Twitch alive, and it worked wonders when they're the first ones to set up in that river, and Vitality are trying to figure out how to enter. Most importantly, Vitality have a condition on their engage. Alphari is not in Mega Gnar form, but Ornn is always there to engage for the side of Astralis. And as you can see, Alphari has to hide right here because Dajor is looking for him to steal that Gnar ultimate to use for himself. He does it so that Gnar goes out first from the Sylas, and Astralis have decimated the front line of Vitality before Vitality even have a chance to reply. But as you can tell, Alphari will wrap around while Carzzy is keeping them busy, and now it's his chance to use actually his own ultimate. They take down 2, but Astralis soul.
We're right back into the fray. Perkz looking for Dajor. Flash is available to him. Dashes all the way back out. Vizicsacsi fires that Forge God. And Vitality a little bit split up. Carzzy's also not here.
Alphari's
He's just left the base. Vitality back away for now. That Baron, the gold and the stats is a little bit of a gap closer for Astralis, but during draft we talked about this. Astralis' comp wanted to get late, wanted to look for those 5v5s, and I might make an argument or think it's a little easier to play this 5-man team composition than the Vitality one.
Sure, but when you're playing the Twitch, you need to be so cautious of your positioning, especially when you don't have flash, and you always need to pinpoint where that Akali is, because one good flank by Perkz, 1 kill onto Kobbe, you see Perkz is lurking, he's looking for where Kobbe is, that Twitch dies.
Oh, that's Labrov in trouble, jumped on by that hijacked Cataclysm. Soul's secured here. Do Vitality step forward? They're locked in. They cannot get through that Pillar of Ice. So Baron and Soul and Astralis are right back into this game.
And Astralis right now, all they need to do is move as a 5-man unit together. Again, no summoners onto Kobbe. They need to make sure that he does stay alive during this siege. He is the weapon of the siege because he's the only one that can deal ranged damage onto these towers, but they have the Baron Dump minions as well. But you said it, they've just cashed in on so much gold. Go back to base, grab important items, and then get back into the fray. And a 6,000 or 7,000 gold lead has shrunk down to 4K, and right now the items look pretty even to me.
I mean, especially when you didn't consider the ornaments. Don't disregard those. 4 of them in the inventories. Correction, 5 in the inventories of Astralis already. And the way that early game played out, I truly did not think we would get to this position. Haru and Vitality completely controlled the early game with kills, with pressure in lane, with objectives. But just a couple of team fights going the way of Astralis has now brought this game back to even. And I think the game's going to be decided around a either Baron or Elder fight. That's what it feels like to me.
I mean, Astralis definitely want to team fight in general. They don't want to be splitting up into particular groups. They want to be all as 5, making sure that they stand in front of Kobbe. Kobbe is the main carry right here. Keep him alive. He'll do the damage. He'll kill Vitality. Because if you look over Vitality side, there's not necessarily any huge tanks. Apart from Haru being tanky, Alphari being tanky when he's Mega Gnar, they do not have anyone like Vizicsacsi on Ornn or Xerxe onto these Trundle. Look at the Frozen Hearts. Look at the Spirit Visages. Look at the Thornmails that are coming into their inventories. These guys are pretty beefy, and it will take a long time for Carzzy to get rid of them. Was Perkz' job is even more difficult. He has to find the flank. He has to find an angle onto this Twitch. He has to assassinate him because he cannot be sitting in the front line hitting Ornn and Trundle.
No, he won't. Will take a year to kill them. But of course, that also means vision, right? Let's take a look. No deep wards really for either team. A couple of Astralis wards in the blue buff on Vitality, and the observers highlighting some Baron vision. 1 minute and 45 seconds to go. We have seen Perkz looking for those flanking opportunities, either waiting in the bushes or just lingering a little bit out of sight. In the last few team fights, Astralis have been able to fend it off, and it really does feel like setting up now for this next Baron. Xerxe going forward, the rest of Astralis nearby. See a couple of wards in their inventories, and that's going to be the name of the game.
Ooh, and I'd also like to see where the Anathema's chains have landed that Vizicsacsi has just purchased, because that's going to be very important. He is playing into a bunch of melees. It's not going to be the Knight. It's most likely going to be either on the Akali or Carzzy's Zeri right here, but seeing as he has so much armor on him, the logical thing would be to put it onto Perkz, which is the only AP damage dealer from the side of Vitality. And Astralis, again, bouncing up as a 5-man unit. Kobbe has his flash up and available. It'd be much easier to try and dodge Perkz into a fight.
Of course, Perkz is pushing that bottom lane, so trying to at least do some sort of answer to this top lane pressure.
Ooh, look on the map right now. Vitality have actually pinged this ward right here, so they do know where they want Perkz to TP in once this Baron gets started. Astralis, if they want to start this Baron, they need to clear up all the vision that's behind them. Again, keeping Twitch alive is one of the most important tasks for Astralis, and that means keeping 100% vision of where that Akali is at all times.
Oh, I really just don't know what to expect from this next fight. It's been such a different set of results from 2 Baron fights. The first time, Astralis were sort of Goomba stomped by Vitality. The second time round, were able to buy enough time, and Kobbe was able to get the damage done. He's got 4 items completed now. He's got that stopwatch as well as both summoners. The vision is being cleared out here by Vitality. And that ward, I don't know if Dajor's going to spot it. Just stepping forward will clear out at least one of those TP options for Perkz.
So that's your flank option right here. Vitality need to find a way to sneak in. They have put one there because the pink ward went into that Baron pit. But Astralis are keeping an eye onto this ward on your screens. This is most likely where Perkz is going to be coming from.
Let's find out, let's find out. He hasn't started channeling yet. Finally does so. Baron down to 6,000. Astralis peel. They're surrounded. It's a fight on 2 fronts. Oh! The Cataclysm! Astralis are locked inside the river. But it's Dajor that takes down Haru. 1, 2 replies from Carzzy and Perkz. And Xerxe's running for his life. Dajor 2. There's no more damage to follow up. And Vitality chase Astralis through their own jungle. They come out on top.
And if Vitality manage to kill Xerxe here, there is no smite threat if they want to do the Baron as well. Killing the Trundle means they get the Baron for free. Dajor's there.
And that's going to be the damage coming down. Dajor with the quickness will be able to find at least 1 reply before going golden. And Alphari tanking up the turret. That is 4 members down, and Vitality can peel back.
And look at Chachi in the mid lane. He kept pressuring that wave, so Vitality cannot use him to push in that mid lane tower. But they will bundle up as 3. Can Chachi stop them from taking this inhibitor? There is no ultimate on this Ornn.
I mean, Alphari and Haru have had gigantic impact, and they have landed so many ultimates back to back. This was just gorgeous.
And look at the flanks that are coming in from the 2 solo laners. There is nowhere for this poor Twitch to go because he's literally sandwiched between a rock and a hard place. And Carzzy playing the last flanker from the other side of the wall as well. There's literally nowhere that Astralis can run to that has not been blocked by a Vitality member.
And of course for Astralis, they really want that head-on 5v5 front-to-back style, because that unlocks the ability for Twitch and Renata to really have a significant impact. As soon as it becomes multiple angles, multiple directions, there's just simply not enough CC and peel. So that Baron was not pressured or taken after the fight and instead peeling back for Elder.
Real quickly, Dajor is not there, but he's going to be channeling his TP right now. This is most likely going to be the last 5 versus 5 that we're going to see in this game because the death timers are really high, almost everyone level 18. And whoever ends up going down here, Elder Dragon is going to finish the deal in whichever team it goes towards.
And of course, keep in mind, while we're in that replay, an inhibitor was secured. Trouble, you mentioned it. Xerxe, the last man alive for Astralis, able to get those supers into the middle lane. Vitality are once again potentially set up for a flank. Astralis could group. Perkz will need to deal with this middle lane, and Alphari may be the target. Astralis have tried to single him out multiple times and will once again make the attempt. Haru gonna jump into the river, looking for JeongHoon, and the interrupt on the hop. That's Alphari dead, shut down. Now all of a sudden, 5 versus 4 and an Elder available.
And it's been all this time Alphari that's been hindering the front to back from Astralis, tipping into weird angles, catching the Twitch. Kobbe right now has that off of his head as Perkz is diving into 3 people.
He's looking for JeongHoon, but he can't find the damage just yet. Instead, dashes inside the pit, gets a burst down into Dajor, and JeongHoon's still alive. Down finally, Labrov will drop. Kobbe with that spray and pray is tearing Vitality apart. Carzzy, however, staying so alive. Xerxe gets that knockup as the burst fire continues to come out. JeongHoon and Kobbe stepping away.
Dajor's backdooring. All they have to do for Astralis is stop Vitality from getting back into the base. But because they cannot chase, Carzzy and Haru are so slippery, Dajor's gonna have to back off. And this Elder Dragon's gonna go uncontested to Astralis.
Is Astralis gonna win this game? Berlin, is Astralis going to win this game? Okay, Elder is being secured. Take another quick look at the standings. This is going to be such a crazy end to the summer season. And with the Elder secured, now Astralis set their sights on Baron. It's still 20-second death timer for Perkz, and I don't think Vitality will contest this.
I'd like to see 1 or 2 members of Astralis to walk out the pit because Haru is right there. Good dive into the pit, sacrifice himself, but take the Baron. And Dajor's gonna do exactly that. He's gonna jump out of the pit and zone him away from the objective. And right now, an Astralis that can brute force themselves into a team fight, that can engage fight so well from so far away, that want to force the 5 versus 5s, can't take the fight to Vitality because they're the ones that have the Elder Dragon buff on their hands. And again, that fight started with Astralis figuring out what they need to do. They need to take out one of the 2 threats that dive into the backline, whether that's Alphari on the Gnar or Perkz onto this Akali. They found Alphari mid-enough form. Can they do it again? Brute force their way in.
Whoa, this time just straight down the middle lane. Keep an eye on those timers in the top left of your screen. The Elder as well as Baron. Pillar of Ice thrown down and Xerxe face plants onto that one. All of a sudden, Astralis are being flanked. Perkz needs to blow up Kobbe. Nexus Tower number 1 is taken down. Cataclysm and Hijack Cataclysm dropped as well. Labrov is taken out underneath his own tower. That's another for Kobbe. Astralis have turned the game around. Astralis are taking down Vitality. And Astralis turn their attention to the Nexus, winning in week 7 to keep their playoff hopes alive.
That is such an important win for the Ornn and the players. Going up to 7 wins right now. Again, historically, typically, you need that number 9. That's the sweet spot to hope to lock yourselves in for playoffs. They have 3 games remaining in Super Week, and they have to win at least 2.
Fnatic, Mad Lions, and XL. 2 of those 3 teams are immediately around them in the standings. Astralis turned that early game around, and the composition in the 5v5s was just too difficult to overcome.
I have to give props. Xerxe, from the first time he faced Alphari in this particular matchup, he got Flame Horizon. He held on to his own. He was tipping into fights to try and get kills back. He was sniping away members who were running away. He was playing so well to engage fights for his team. Xerxe shadowing Haru, who was so proactive in the early game, trying to get his team ahead. But at the end of the day, I feel like keeping Kobbe alive on Twitch, his positioning in these last few fights was what won them the team fights.
That's why he's one of the nominees for Kia Player of the Game at LEC on Twitter. Vizicsacsi, Dajor, and Kobbe. A very interesting game to watch and to talk about, and those team fights in the mid-game are going to be haunting Vitality just a little. Now, as we head to break, the start of the new season saw changes to teleport. Now, a few patches in, we sat down with the pros to hear their thoughts. We'll hear from them right after this.
Even the biggest champ needs a break.
Did anybody see Perkz KitKat?
So I wanted to ask you about the TP changes.
Oh, that so made me so sad, dude.
So 6 months ago, we had TP changes. You can no longer TP to minions early, just a tower. But looking back now that it's been 6 months with the changes, what do you think about the changes overall?
Yeah, I mean, I'm missing like my bot lane, you know.
It's actually more fun to play right now.
I think it's just way better, not so boring anymore.
But to be honest, I hated it with TP bot lane.
TP used to be so OP, like, and people used to not even play it like many seasons ago.
When enemy bot lane pushes, like you could TP behind, make some plays, even like level 3, level 4. Now you have to wait 14 minutes.
I like the changes. I think since you can kind of only TP top lane anymore, there's more incentive on actually winning lane.
I think many players, they could just skip laning phase, you know, but right now it will be more like a skill check on top lane.
Well, I think it was a fine change. I do miss being able to like TP flank bot while enemy bot lane is griefing and just walking up with a ward behind them.
Yeah, I mean, I think the TP change was honestly bigger for bot lane than top lane.
I mean, to me, I really like the change.
I think this change is actually pretty good.
It's actually more fun to play right now. I feel like you actually have a lot of like free time and you don't really need to be feeling threatened that enemy can TP behind you, even if it's from mid, right? Doesn't matter.
And it allows for more picks, since you cannot get dove. And also it changed the playstyle because the wards behind you don't matter as much anymore. So you can focus on other stuff than clearing vision behind you.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely removes a strategic aspect of it, but it also gives a little bit more freedom to make aggressive plays without being influenced by the other side of the map. So I think there's pros and cons, but I definitely would lean more to the pro side in terms of enjoyment of playing.
I really like the changes. It makes the game more slow and it's like harder to dive before. When there were situations where your bot lane took one bad trade and you double TP down and the game ends, basically, that's kinda was boring to play, and now laning phase is longer, so that's nice.
People are not getting TP anymore, like I see Flash Ignite or like Ignite Exhaust even in top lane.
I think it's fun. On some champions, taking Ignite or something can be really good.
It allows a bit more creativity, and it's still like you can get very punished for not taking TP.
But as you say, it's ghost into ghost in the top lane, meaning that JeongHoon, we're trying just to kite back up towards the top side.
It's like you don't punish your team that much anymore if you don't take it.
It like also favored a lot of champions that just want to be in lane and like hard push, which is like what we saw a lot in the first split, right? When people were picking like Graves a lot. It's a champ that can just abuse you on the tower, you know.
Top lane's been a bit quiet for now. No top laner having TP. It's very kind of individual prowess and wave control.
People need to like learn a bit the new matchups, because before it was like basically all the same. So I think this is way better. There's like a lot of new fresh matchups, a lot of new fresh playstyle. You also need to like think about it, because maybe if this guy will play Ignite, maybe you need to match it.
I think it's bad nerf. Like it just made top lane a bit miserable actually. I want top lane to be more in the game because I'm top lane. Of course I want TP to be more better in situation.
That's interesting, because I've heard the opposite from other top laners, so I guess it depends.
Personality.